Hi, I'm Jody, and yesterday I saw this super nice interview question trending and thought it's good to work on it and show you guys how I would tackle this. Hope it works. Doesn't look very difficult based on what I'm good at. Anyway, it says the best engineering interview question I've ever gotten. Part one is the question. I believe part two is the hints for how to solve it. From Arthur O'Dway, stuff mostly about C++. I will go quick. It will say introducing. I just read the question. I didn't try to solve it. I didn't check the second part, which I believe is the hints. It starts very nice because it's like a general article. You don't get how come this is going to be an interview question. At the beginning, I thought it's a wrong title or wrong article. Anyway, it says, do you know about the memcached? It's something like maybe Redis is a good example. You can install it like this. You can compile it like this, and when you have it, you can run it. Then you can connect to it, and it works like I'm not sure if it's in memory or not. I don't have my pens right now, no problem. And what it does, you can tell that to it, you will be connected. You can say set full name. This is flags is 0. Keep it this many seconds, and this is the size of the data I'm going to give it to you. Then you say John Smith. It sets full name equals John Smith for 1 hour. Then you can say, okay, get full name. It will give you the John Smith. You can do the same thing with the numbers. For example, you can say, says you can write a program for it. We are not going to use it. It says you can say set age, flag is 0 for 1 hour, 2 bytes. I believe this is the size. And then tell it 37. So the age will be 37. If you say get age, it will give you 37. But you can say increment age by 1, and age will be increased by 1, and you will get back 38 immediately. You also have some other examples. For example, it says you can get age, it will get age. You can say increment full name by 1, it will give you an error. I cannot. You can decrement or decrease, I believe. You can decrease the age by 10, add it 10, and you can see you can do different things. Up to here, where is the question? But here is the question, the challenge. The guy says, the nice guy, which was called Arthur, says, okay, they showed me this memcached, and then they said, now your challenge. Via its increment and decrease commands, memcached provides a built-in way to automatically add k to a number, but it doesn't provide other arithmetic operations. In particular, there is no atomic multiply by k operation. Your programming challenges. If you want to work with us, add a mult command to memcached. When you are done, I should be able to tell it to your memcached client and run commands like multiply age by 10. You have 3 hours. Go. This is super nice interview question. I would love it because it shows to the challenger, to the employee, how much you can read the code, how you can find your own way in the middle of something you don't know. Also, they show how you can understand patterns, how you can work with the program, how you can compile it, how you can change it, if you can debug, and this kind of stuff. But we have only 3 hours. I believe I should be able to solve this much sooner. I have not seen this project. I be honest, I didn't know about the memcached before this. I used to use Redis. But this is a nice question. Let's go for it. Okay, I will copy this. I will begin with trying to cd mk.temp. I have the temp mk.memcached cd memcached, and I will do a wget on this. Oh, it has a curl in it. So let's download it first. First steps first. I will try not to panic. This is the first lesson. If you say, oh, I have 3 hours, what I should do? Relax. All the time you will buy by panicking, becoming fast, trying to type things faster, shouting, whatever, will save you 5 minutes, 10 minutes most. Okay, 20 minutes. But the concentration will help you more. If you are relaxed, you will have less errors, you will have better results. I will untar this. Okay. Then we need to configure and make. Let's see if we can do it. Okay. cd memcached configure. Let's see if we can compile it correctly. Ow. Ah, yes, we did. Doesn't have much dependencies. If it needed, we had to install it. And then let me increase the font size a little bit, and then make. This will compile it. Okay. Ah, it's done. It's super quick. Understandable. Most probably not a huge project. I will run tmax, which I always use in these cases. I will split my windows. So I will leave here, and this is it. So I have make, right? Let's run it. Let's run it here, and let's try it here. It says, okay, what we needed to telnet to 11211, and this was the first command we gave it, which is not important. We are going to work on this. I'm just trying to understand the question first. If I start changing the code and it doesn't work, that would be the hell. I will do telnet 11211. Network is unreachable. What was it? 11211. Did I run it? Ah, what I did. I will tell it to localhost 11211. Okay, we'll give it this command. Now it's waiting for the age as I read the question. 12 is the age, okay. Get age, 12. Increment age by 1, it's 13. Get age, okay. Increment age by 10. Get age. Decrease age by 20. Get age. So it's working. Multiply age by 10. Error. We have to go and start from here. I will break it. I will run my code. VS Code will be running here. Yes, I trust the authors. Let me increase the font size for you a little bit. No need to release. First, I will have a general look to the code. What we have here. As you can see, let me run it like this. It would be easier. I will open a file browser here. We have docs. We have tests, most probably. They are called T. Bogus commands. Yes, this should be the test. Issue blah, blah, testing all the issues. Script. So the general program, the whole program is here. It's not in a separated location. I will increase it and try to get some understanding of the general structure of the code. See, we have one memcached headers. And this is kind of a huge file for a C file. So most of the things should be happening here. Always it's good to have a look at the headers and understand what we have there. Let's do this. I didn't check the timer, although I'm not going to record video for 3 hours for sure. Okay. Memcached headers. There are some includes, as you can see, this is also very huge. Page down, configuring some things like increment, max storage length, item, just defining some parameters, defining some function-like things, append number stats. I'm just trying to understand how the programmer was thinking when trying to write this code. My background idea is that the programmer, for sure, when writing a good software, which memcached is, was thinking about the modules. So I should have some part of my program which does the networking thing, brings the server up, accepts connections and everything. I should have a different module which does all the storage thing. If I'm writing data somewhere, if I'm storing it, if I want to retrieve it and this kind of stuff. One part should be the part which is doing the actual jobs, like incrementing, saving things in the context of understand. Oh, that should be different. Another part should be a part to parse the commands, find out what is the command, what I should do. Do I have enough different parameters? If it's an increment, if the command is typed correctly, if I know this syntax and this kind of stuff, parsing things, so network, storage, parsing, and one part should be the general function which does the heavy lifting, which is not very heavy, like really incrementing something, changing something, and this kind of stuff. So storage, retrieval, everything, network, other stuff, making connections, if there are threads, working with threads and everything, parsing the commands, doing the actual job. This is my general idea. I have to search and see how memcached does the parsing, found out where this increment works, because we have the increment, we have the decrease. So the best approach should be just adding one command exactly like increment in a very, very rough logic, raw kind of things. Rough logic, it should be like this. Server goes up, connects to the storage. When this reads something, somewhere parses it and says, okay, this is an increment. I don't have my pen, so I'm trying to write with my mouse. So this is increment. Maybe by touchpad is easier. No. If this is increment, what should be incremented? How much? This part is parsing it. Then it will call somewhere to do the actual increment and write it back. Just parallel to this increment, I need to add some mult. And here I should have a new function which says, okay, if I have the mult, if parser gave me the mult with correct parameters, multiply the data and save. So I'm going side by side with the increment. I have not read the code yet, but this should be the general logic of a good program, module-based and everything. I'm just having a look at the memcached. There are all configurations, settings, most probably default settings, str item, struct, connections. So this part is for connections. Then slab, some imports, actual functions, accept new connections, connection from free list, is listen thread, so it uses threads, item remove, item replace. These are interesting, although we are going to find about the increment and do as it does. Switch item lock type, append stats. There was nothing like increment here. Okay. But my general idea was not that bad. It should happen here mainly, just a guess. But what I can do for this task, I want to finish it as soon as possible. So I will do a grep. I will say, where do I have increment in this code? It says you have increment in test app. Sorry, let's do a less. In docs, I don't need them. In binary file, we have a lot in memcached C. So this is a C program. We have few in items, protocol, binary, headers, slabs, tests, all in tests, test app in threads. As you can see, most of them are in memcached. Let's do the same thing in here. Let's search for increment. We are kind of cheating, which is not bad. We are trying to make ourselves familiar with the code. I have even a better idea. Increment is found in many places. For example, item C, this is an increment. But for sure, somewhere it's searching for the string increment. And say, okay, if this is it, memcached, here it searches for increment. What it does? Let's make it a little bit smaller. This is very nice. See what it does? It says, else if, whatever. If number of tokens most probably is 4, or number of tokens is 5, and str compare value is increment, process arithmetic this. This is very nice. Line 3264 of memcached. So this is one nice place we found. Let's see what is this function. My mouse is not working correctly. Process delete command doesn't look like the correct name. No, I've jumped too much. Process command. So we have one process command which understands these commands. We can add ours most probably here, but it's better to go a little bit more deeper and see what does this process arithmetic command. I can go to the definition. It says process arithmetic command gets some Boolean increment, gets a connection, gets tokens, gets this, gets the increment. The strange thing is why this increment is Boolean. Let's read the code. It says set something blah blah. If some error, say this, then try to find the key value. We don't know what are these, but we are getting more and more familiar. You see how it works. And it says add delta, sending everything here to add delta. Let's go and see what is this add delta, which we call here. Go to definition. This is the add delta. This is just the wrapper to do add delta. Let's go to do add delta. We found where we are interpreting, parsing the commands, going forward, there is something which is called do add delta. It gets a connection. It gets one key. So we are adding to the age. I don't know why we have this, or number of keys or whatever. We have some constant which is increment, and we have delta. So delta is the thing which we are adding. So what is increment? Here. It says do get item. Okay, it reads the item. If it's not there, it gives back an error. We are getting more and more familiar and understanding more and more about this software, which is very cool. It says if something which is that I don't know what is this. Cas. This is it. Okay, but it gives an error. Then it gets a pointer or something, tries to extract the value, I believe. It says if increment value equals value plus delta, and then it runs this macro. Oh, this is an empty macro. As you can see, it says defined this function to nothing. It's just a placeholder or something. Not sure why we have it, but no problem. But here we have our answer. It says if increment is true, it was a Boolean value. Add it. If increment is not true, then if the value you are going to add is larger than the current value, value is 0. Else value decreased by delta. So this increment says we want to add or we want to decrease. This is interesting, and it doesn't go to minus values, which is a little bit strange, but anyway. So what we should do? My general idea is we will change this to character type. And then we say, I have that increment. If increment is 1, I will change this later somewhere, add it. Else, if increment is 0, do this. What happened? Else, okay, if increment is 2, I can say value multiplied by delta. So I added one line which says, okay, based on the increment, if it was 1, I was incrementing. If it was 0, it was decreasing. If it's 2, it will multiply. Now I need to go to my parser and tell it that also I have to check the definition of this increment in other places and change all of them to character instead of the Boolean. In character, but when saying characters, in C we mean every number between 0 up to 256, or if you are speaking about minus 128 to 127, or whatever method you're speaking. Anyway, I will do this character 2. But when this parsing was happening, I was going here. Let's search for that lovely increment once more. We had it here, right? Yes. So what was this function? This function was process command. Interesting. We can say, how does it work? It says, let's read it before changing it. Process commands gets one command and says this, server error if I don't have a way. Number of tokens is number of tokens. Number of tokens if more than 3, do this. Else if number of tokens is blah blah. If number of tokens is blah blah. So I will add mine here. Ow, what? I will say, okay, close it. If I'm just copying like it because we had increment one number, one thing, so I can do the same with my own multiply. You say if we have a multiply, call this with 2. It is calling this number of command, increment is 1. If I want to multiply, increment is 2. And if decrease, call it with 0. This is so cool. Can it be? We don't know. Okay. Let's do another make. See if we've done any errors, obvious errors. Not yet. I can run it. I can do my telnet thing. I can try this, give it 12, and then say increment age by 12, age by 2. So it is it. Then say multiply age by 2. Our command worked because I say age by 2, I will get an error. So multiply is working, but it is adding instead of multiplying. In general, it's very, very, very good. We are one step forward, but we are not differentiating between increment and age. I can do a decrease age by 5 to make sure that decrease is still working. So let's do a debug. That would be also fun. I will say gdb memcached. I'm debugging it. Let's see, where was our function? It was here, but we were going to process update command. Go to definition. It was here and it was calling, let's try this, process update command. When debugging, I can say break or only be here. So now I can run it. On a debugger, I ran it. I will do the telnet. I will say set age to 12. It says, okay, I'm here because it's setting something. I will say continue. This is not what I want to see, but I will say increment age by 2. Wow. Oh, I didn't set this. Age is 12. Okay, continue. Then get age. Okay. Then increment age by 2. Why we didn't reach to our debug? Multiply age by 2. We are not reaching there. Why? Yes, I broke it. Let's go here. Process update command. Was this process update command? Are we updating something? No. process arithmetic command. We had to see this one, what I did. Go to definition, process arithmetic. Anyway, let's run it once more. Say, I want a breakpoint on this function. Now please run it. Now I will have what? Set age 12. Increment age by 2. Now I'm at breakpoint. You can check the list. And it says, okay, I'm running this. If t tokens, blah, blah. If no reply, if tokens, I can say print increment value. This is optimized. In the beginning, I had this, but now it doesn't need it and it's optimized. Anyway, let's go here. I will say multiply age by 2. I'm here. I will say print increment value. This is true. This had to be 2, but now it is true. This is a problem. Most probably we are missing some place where increment is defined as a value on the headers. Here, even here, I have to make it a character. Because it came to me as, I send it as 2, but here it is defined as Boolean. So C converts it to true. Then I want to change it to a character. It can be represented as any positive number. So I will go with character. What I can do is I can do a search on Boolean increment and see when I have it. Oh. I don't have any other one. How come? It's a little bit strange if I don't have any. This should be fixed. I will make it once more. Meanwhile, I do my search, grep -r bool increment in any C file or any H file. We don't have it anymore. So make is done. I'll run it once more. Then I will do my telnet things. I will say set age to this. Age is 12. Increment age by 3. And then I will say multiply age by 3. Woo! We did it. It was easy. The program was not that huge. And at the moment, now it is working. Although we have to check more. For example, we had this in documents. We had this in tests. Get age. Okay, it's working fine. Can I multiply it to something huge? Multiply age on... yes. If someone was going to hire me based on this task, I would ping her and would tell her that, okay, now the bare minimum functionality is working. She or he or it or whatever nowadays is used could be happy. I would show that, okay, I have done the bare minimum task. But I would add that I need some more time. I need to check for some niche cases. Make sure I'm not breaking anything else. I need to run tests. If I still have time for 3 hours, I would be very glad if you let me to add this to the documentation, comment my code, add a few tests to make sure that it is working fine on the next stages of the programming and this kind of stuff. But the bare minimum is done. I would be glad if you give me the rest of the time to improve the general thing. Add tests, add comments, add this to the documentation. And this way, I would show that I know what I'm doing and I'm a good employee. But this was really a very, very nice challenge. If I was going to be hired in this company and someone would ask me this, I would be super happy about that company and about the interviewer. This is how I would answer back to the best engineering interview question Arthur ever gotten. Let me go and check the second part, because the best engineering interview for spoilers and analysis. Challenge. How does he done this? Analysis, walkthrough, same thing. At delta C opcode. Another thing which was very nice, I had to change the name of this variable from increment to something else, because this is not very nice. Because increment is true or false. I cannot say increment is 0, 1, 2. Technically I can, but this is not a good name. And we had to check other parts of the code. It was about the protocol parts and everything. Again, it would be great if you say, this is the bare minimum, now let's continue. Most probably there are some logs to make sure that I'm not changing that value somewhere else and anything. But again, for me, the fun part was showing you how I would start reading a code I have never seen, how I should start understanding parts of it. I will think about different modules and say, okay, I need to find this module. For sure, I'm not going to start from the main and see how the program starts initiating listening ports, how the threads are working. I need the parser part and the calculation parts. Have fun and enjoy coding.